Hello guys and gals. Today we discuss an actual IRL creepypasta as opposed to say a traditional written one. Now we've done several episodes on IRL creepypastas, notably say the Bermuda Triangle for one, or the Murder Triangle, whatever you want to say. And today it's no different. We're going to take a look at another urban legend, or a myth, that exists in our world today. This is called the Sensabaugh Tunnel, located in East Tennessee, the United States of America. Now what is the Sensabaugh Tunnel, and why does it deserve an IRL creepypasta episode, you may ask? Well, for one, it is a prominent myth and an urban legend. Now locals in the area claim that the tunnel is a place of great evil, and that one should avoid at all costs, a place where demonic apparitions often appear, and the screams of babies and women echo. Some claim even driving your vehicle into the tunnel and turning it off refrains the vehicle from ever turning on, straining you deep within this haunted tunnel. Now, one such source belongs in a local encyclopedia known as the Ghosts and Spirits of Tennessee. The article itself goes as follows, and here are some liner notes on the area. Sensabaugh Tunnel is located just off Big Elm Road in Kingsport, Tennessee, not far from Rotherwood Mansion. It was constructed in the 1920s, and today it sits in a state of disrepair. There are cracks in the cement, and graffiti is everywhere. The road that passes through, it is only used by locals, and not often by many. The tunnel is most notorious for a murder that occurred there many years ago. There are several versions of how the murder transpired. All of them involve a baby. One version is that many years ago a hobo wandered into the home of a fairly prominent family named Sensabaugh. They welcomed the hobo into their home, and the hobo, however, started to steal jewelry from the family, so Mr. Sensabaugh had grabbed his pistol. The hobo had then grabbed the newborn baby, which he used as a human shield and ran. The hobo was able to outpace the father and ran into the tunnel. He didn't know what to do with the baby, so he drowned it in the stream that runs through the tunnel. There are other versions of the story too, in fact, that do not in fact involve a hobo. According to one of them, Mr. Sensabaugh lived with his family in a house near the entrance to the tunnel. One day he had went crazy and had murdered them all, including his newborn baby, and threw their bodies into the creek in the tunnel. Other accounts say a young pregnant woman was kidnapped and murdered in said tunnel. If any of these accounts is correct, there's no doubt that a tragedy occurred here years ago, and that tragedy has found its way into the lore of the region. Today the tunnel is typically Lover's Lane, where young couples go to enjoy each other's company in private. And of course the tale of the tragedy always sparks the interest of those present. There are other notes as well. The baby who was in fact killed here is said to in fact haunt the tunnel. It is said that you can hear the baby cry if you drive into the car and cut off the ignition. It's also said that the ignition will not start if you kill it in the tunnel. Other people claim you can hear Mr. Sensabaugh's footsteps echoing in the tunnel, and even seeing him approaching your vehicle in your rearview mirror. That would be quite unsettling indeed, if your car would not start. Now this is just a simple liner note on what typically happened in the area. Now, Sensabaugh Tunnel, again, is located in Tennessee, and here are some pictures you can look at to further acquaint yourself with what the area looks like. It's pretty dark, it's pretty gritty, it's got a bunch of graffiti in the area, and typically if you came across this place late at night, I guarantee you there would be some spook intended. Now the story behind it, of course, there's many versions that exist, and we'll go towards a version that's more prominently accepted. But as far as the entire story goes, it's kind of like your typical horror story in a sense. But it's a very tragic one indeed, and unfortunately for people that were involved, it's pretty sad it had to go this way. Now whether a hobo was involved, I have no idea. Now whether these apparitions appear to really haunt the tunnel, we'll look at that in a second. And driving a car into the tunnel, turning off the ignition, and apparently having it killed is apparently a very prominent thing that happens in this tunnel as well. I've never actually seen it happen, and one day I do intend to go towards there, but we'll look at that later on in the video. Now again, these are just some versions that were typically cataloged as folklore, as urban legends, right? But here are some real-world events. Now, it involves a woman shooting at a group of ghost hunters. The article details as follows. A BB gun-wielding woman allegedly fired shots at a car of people that stopped near her home to explore a haunted tunnel. She was charged with 5 counts of aggravated assault today. According to Hawkins County Sheriff Deputy Michael Leap, on Thursday, June 13, The year was 2013, by the way. At around 11 p.m., 20 years old, Jessica Winstead and 4 of her teenage friends stopped on Big Elm Road to explore the Sensabaugh Hollow Road Railroad Tunnel. The group had heard the tunnel was haunted and planned to take some photos. A nearby neighbor, 28-year-old Brandy Lee Amy, came out of her home and told the group to leave. As Winstead and her friends were driving away, Amy allegedly opened fire on the car, hitting the rear of the vehicle. Jessica stated that the female with blonde hair, later identified as Brandy Lee Amy, came out of the residence next to the tunnel and told them they needed to leave. As the male was getting back into the vehicle, they observed some type of firearm in Amy's hand. Jessica said she saw the female cocking the firearm as they drove off. Amy fired it at them, striking the rear of the vehicle. Now, one could easily say that that woman was in fact a crazy bitch. Thankfully, no one seems to have ever gotten hurt in that. I mean, it was a BB gun after all, let's be honest here. And if anything, she has been arrested with 5 counts of aggravated assault, with a bail bond of about $10,000. Why she did it, no one really knows. Maybe she has psychological problems. Again, who knows? Why would she attack a group of wannabe ghost hunters? Maybe she felt genuinely threatened that they were near her property. Now, what really is the story behind the whole Sensabaugh Tunnel? Now, we know it focuses on Mr. Sensabaugh, the man behind the tale. In the 20s, the man lived near with his family, and in fact built the tunnel himself. Going mad one night, he killed his wife and newborn daughter and hid their bodies in the river that runs through that tunnel. And as a form of repentance, actually haunted that tunnel every night until his death at some point in the 1950s. It's his ghost that haunts his tunnel, alongside the 2 that he had killed. Now, a lot of people who serve in ghost hunting on YouTube have done several EVPs, electronic voice phenomenons, and investigation on the subject, and although the content is up for debate, it is creepy regardless of legitimacy, so congratulations. There are many people, again, who have done this, who have went inside the tunnels and have captured EVPs, and a lot of them have really, really grim stuff. For example, a group of ghost hunters actually operating in the area went towards the tunnel and actually, captured some EVPs, and inside the EVPs they were typically asking questions such as, "Are you here to harm us?" And they received a response, one-word response, and that was yes. And it was given in a cryptic tone. Now, of course, further analyzing it, it really didn't seem to be an EVP. I actually felt that it was a little doctored, because I've heard EVPs before. This one just felt a little too clear to me. I will leave the link in the description below to the actual site, or the video rather, on YouTube where they do cover the subject. But again, it does feel a little bit doctored to me, essentially. Now, there are some people who have actually driven through the tunnel, and the tunnel itself is not necessarily long by any stretch of the imagination. It's not a super long tunnel that your car could potentially break inside. In fact, going around it is probably about maybe a 3-4 minute drive. I don't know. It's typically that long. It's not, a huge tunnel once again. And aside from that, the tunnel itself, most people living in the area claim that they've driven through it hundreds of times and nothing really has happened. So it's really just an urban legend attracting those who live further away from the area. Again, these people have driven through it hundreds of times and they have not claimed to see a single thing. So it comes into question how legitimate this tunnel could be, whether it's just a simple spooky urban legend designed to really scare some people with a horrific backstory and whatnot, or if it's actually something real. Again, I'm a skeptical individual. I don't really believe in a whole lot of creepy ghosts and demons haunting me through the dead. But at the end of the day, I can't really say, I'm right 100%. So, could it exist? Absolutely. There is a possibility in our world where this could exist. Is it a great possibility? Absolutely not. And I think that goes for any sort of creepy myth or urban legend. While they do somewhat sound realistic in tone, realistic enough in the sense that they do have this creepy allure to them. And while we can get scared from, their details in their accounts, it does also serve as something that, doesn't have a whole high percentage of realism attached to it as well. How often would you really expect, a dead child's ghost really attracting you and turning down your vehicle and preventing it from starting up while its late father, who was responsible for its death, just approaches you from the backside? It just seems a little too heavy-handed to really believe. But again, it's the fact that it's something that is so unexplainable, or something that has this seesaw effect where there is a bit of truth to it, but there is, of course, that false reality attached to it as well, that truly, truly does scare someone. And only until you're actually in that tunnel and your car has been powered off, you'll really come across something spooky. And if you do, then, good luck for you. Now, I've actually run across my vehicle being turned down at several moments, and I think I've actually discussed this in an IRL creepypasta, not an IRL creepypasta, but an IRL ghost story in one of the in one of the uploads on this channel. And I think I've discussed when my brand new car actually shut on me out of nowhere. And while cars do shut down on me, and cars do shut down on anyone, over here it is a very prominent tale on why it happens over here. A lot of people say this exact tunnel, when you turn off your vehicle, when you kill the ignition and you fire it up again, it doesn't seem to start at all. Whether this is true or not, I don't know, and not many people have actually attempted or tried this and documented the process as well to put it on YouTube. I guess maybe it's because some people are scared that the car actually will die and they won't, be able to get out of here, and they might, come across something not of this world, so to speak. And in that respect, I guess this urban legend really holds up. It's got this right level of believability. It's sort of, again, like a creepypasta, but nobody's really been able to truly sit down and decipher and document it, so we come up with a 100% rational, complete explanation. Again, is this pretty much fake? For sure. I think anybody that rationally sits there and applies this logic to this tunnel can say for a fact that it does not seem real in any fashion. Do you really think Mr. Sensabaugh is going to come behind your vehicle and try to murder you while you hear the sounds of his late wife and daughter haunting you from the front? I mean, it's a creepy predicament, but it's a very unlikely one of that too. Now, when I'm said 3 to 4 minute drive, I think in my respects, I wasn't even joking. The tunnel itself may not be large, but again, you can see by photographs that it's pretty decrepit in itself, so I wouldn't really even put my car in this situation whatsoever. And I'm sure many people don't put their cars here just for that fact alone. There are many, many other things associated with this, tale as well too. In fact, taking pictures of it, a lot of people claim to see that when they take a picture of the tunnel itself from the outside, that in certain locations they can actually see the Sensabaugh baby inside the photo itself. Now, I've looked around these photographs and I've not been able to see many things that resemble anything of a baby of sort in these photographs. Some people seem to be reaching for this. I don't see a baby. Now, there are in fact orbs that have been constantly captured, and for those of you wondering around what the paranormal is, orbs are a big thing. They sense that they basically are spirits that, are captured on camera, and they're just floating around the area itself. Now, there are reasons why orbs come into cameras as well too. A lot of it has to do with technical faults in the camera, more so than, just a paranormal effect running around. That's where orbs are a little bit of a question. If you've studied how cameras operate, especially digital cameras, orbs themselves are weird anomalies. It's something that I've honestly never really been able to explain, but at times it does factor into a faulty camera, faulty, internals inside the camera as well too. So you can't really trust it completely in that respect. In the end, all rambling and discussions aside, is this real? Is this fake? Again, I could never give you the answer. There's a certain level of skepticism that exists. For me, I don't think this is real at all. But then again, I can't say that 100%. Just like people who think this is real, can't say vice versa 100%. It's just one of those things. It's an urban legend, and it's one that hasn't really been completely documented to say other urban legends have been completely. And even then, when they get fully documented, there's still this element of constant disbelief. For me, it's just fun, and it's interesting to see the paranormal side of our world. And ultimately, that's really it. That's what IRL Creepypastas is about. Could it be real? Who knows? But at least we had fun looking at what serves to be a pretty creepy part of our world. There is a channel, by the way, that I really wish would actually investigate this place called Dorset Ghost Investigations. And they actually do a whole lot of this kind of creepy stuff. They deal with a lot of Frank's Box kind of things. They have a whole bunch of ghost tools that they really put into effect, hunting for ghosts. And I'd really wish they would actually go to Tennessee to see what this place is all about. Will I ever see it one day? I don't know. I hope to go to Tennessee for many reasons. They've got a whole bunch of stuff down there, this included. Will I see a spook? I don't know. If I go down there, I'll let you know. I'll definitely make a video about it. Who knows? Maybe I might show you an IRL creepypasta investigation. But if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. Especially tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode and how it actually got handled. It's a little rusty, so to speak, but I'm trying to try something new with the IRL creepypasta format. I just want to know how it turned out. If it wasn't what you expected, let me know, and let me know how to fix it. And most importantly, tell me what you think about the Sensabaugh Tunnel. It was an interesting little thing to look at. And there's many that exist like this in the world today. Many tunnels, but many different places in the world that are just unexplainable. And whether this may not have been a gaming episode, you know, of course we like to take a little break from the gaming creepypastas, look at something else. There are plenty of gaming creepypastas coming out. For example, there's a Sims one. Those are typically fun to read. But that being said, this has been an IRL creepypasta. If you like what you saw again, you know, like, comment, subscribe, dislike it if you dislike it. This is me, Mutahar, and I hope you enjoyed another video. I am out.